This is official Farm to Farmer podcast. For those of you who have been with us before, it was a conversation, but now it's become a podcast because we have to get all modern with all the new technology and what's going on. So we were missing for a little bit because we had a lot of work to do across the island, going around the island on the Genesis project. Going from around the entire island, doing that soil regeneration. So now we're back on track doing the podcast and really for those of you who maybe are new to the podcast or the conversation, we look locally and globally for people to bring really wonderful information of how we can live a much more regenerative life. It's organic, so it's going to be farmers, anybody that's in the sector doing good, clean work. And we've really started this project out with farmers wanting to know how to properly grow tomatoes organically. And we brought somebody that knew everything about from seed to harvest about tomatoes, and it just became very popular. So we've just been doing it for the last 2-3 years, and we've been really blessed to have a lot of really knowledgeable people. And it's time to give people an opportunity to share their life work with us. So we have a lot of experts in the room that we bring. And so this evening, as you know, it's going to be Dr. Ben. And we have special guests popping in, right? Ivelyn is going to be here. So it's going to be a wonderful conversation. But before we do that, I wanted to do a little housekeeping. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Nicola Shirley-Phillips. I am one of the directors at the Source Farm, Eco Village, and Community Development Institute. I wear many hats. I'm head of project for Genesis and one of the directors at the Organic Research Station. So this is the many hats that I wear. And I'm in Jamaica in St. Thomas, in this beautiful parish of St. Thomas, doing this amazing work of economic development, but also organic farming, anything to do with an organic lifestyle. That's what I'm interested in. So we're just going to do a little bit of housekeeping. So how we're running this particular program, before we start, Michelle, is that Doc will do a presentation, right? And he'll do a presentation, and then we'll open it up for a conversation, right? So we're going to do it that way for this time, because each guest does a little different. So this time we're going to be doing it that way. So we're going to ask you to use the chat. If you have a burning question, put it in the chat. We'll definitely try and get to as many of the questions as we possibly can. And we want to do a little bit of housekeeping because I want to tell you what is coming up the rest of this month so I don't forget. We may have to do it again, but Michelle, if you want to share that screen. So we're going to start off. This is something that kind of popped up over the last week. We, as I mentioned before, we had the GWG Organic Research Station, and we had some challenges with last year with Beryl hurricane, knocked out our weir, and we are now in the process of putting it back together. So we were blessed enough to have Reggie Malcolm with One Generation and his team. They're coming in they came in with a lot of students early in the year to help us put the weir back. We're doing it with earth back. And now we're putting the finishing touches. So if anybody that wants to learn anything about earth bag, or they want to learn how to do the plaster that you use the straw and the clay in, we're going to be doing that work, right? We're going to be doing that work on the 17th, 18th, and 19th. So if you want to come and learn how to do that, because you see all these natural building things, and a lot of times these workshops are very expensive and you can't really afford to do it. So if you came in and volunteered that weekend, right, you will be able to come and learn the basics of it. So you'll be able to know how to do it, right, and have that experience. So we're going to be doing that at GWG. You have to bring your tent and camp. It's that kind of vibe, but it's a good set of people. And these opportunities don't really come that often. So if you want to learn how to do it, this is how. If you look on the screen, you'll see check in with Selena. She is from Trinidad. She's an amazing artist, and she does all that natural building plaster work. You really want to come and talk to her if you're thinking of building something a little bit more natural in terms of you learn to do earth bag, but also to put that plaster on. It's really beautiful stuff. So you have that information. You can go ahead and contact them and they'll organize everything for you. Okay. I just wanted to let you know. And that is coming up this coming weekend, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Great. The next thing that I wanted to do this month is Organic October, right? So we've already had a couple events go on this week. On the 16th, we're going to be at University of West Indies. The biology department has decided to host us. We're going to be showing organic rising. So those of you who are in the vicinity, I'm encouraging you to come. It's going to be about 2:30. We're going to be doing that show, the Organic Rising documentary. It's really, really a good documentary. The last time we showed it, there was a whole lot of people that wanted to go chant on Babylon because they realized what's going on with our food system. And so we really want you to come and take a look at it. We will be in the biology lab. You have the information. If you have a question, you can always reach out to me and I'll help you get directions. But it is a free movie. And it'll be a good time for you to come together with our organic folks. So please do check it out. We will also be doing, Joan will be at Ujima Farmers Market. So here's a flyer for it. So on the 18th, bring a blanket, bring a chair, come hang out with the people that care about clean food, right? We were going to be at Hope Gardens at the farmers market. There's going to be, food. There's going to be conversation. There's going to be demos. There's a full day of it, right? So please do remember that. If you're anywhere in the vicinity, or if you're off island, you have some friends, send them the flyer, make them come. We want to see as many people out to support the movement and just meet other people. Lots of good, I can people them nice enough. Them is always willing to share information. So you come, you might have some information to share. You just want to also be around people that don't think you're so strange when you start talking about soil and start talking about, regeneration and all kinds of organic principles. So if you feel like you're in a silo and you want to get out of that silo, come and hang out with us for the Saturday. Please do. The next event that we'll be doing is the training at the Genesis Project is having our training. It's October is a water management month. We're so blessed to have Rajay Malcolm teaching teaching the course. We're going to be in two places. We're going to be on the 23rd. We're going to be at A&R Farms in Trelawney, and we're going to be in Clarendon at C&J Garden. The flyer is there, the link is there. If you need transportation, from every parish, there's a bus. Well, let's just say for all the western parishes, there's a bus. If you're in the Kingston or the eastern place and you want to, we have a bus leaving from Kingston that will come to the Clarendon side. So you can register. To get on the bus, you have to register. Or if you want to drive, you can drive, but you have to register if you want to get on that bus. And we have limited seats, so please do register and let us know if you're with us. There's somebody that needs to mute that person. So this is what's happening. So let me tell you about this workshop. I spent 2 days with Rajay just going to the site visits to just kind of see what people had on, what was going on with their land. And I learned a whole lot just by walking around and looking at. So sometimes, we may call like Rada in to look at about water. But before you talk about the water, you have to kind of be on your land to see what happens when it rains. It just so happens that those 2 days it rained. So we were able to really look at the flow of the water and figure out, we just want to put a drip and a tank and all that stuff in a pond. But we really need to understand what is going on. And even if you don't have a whole lot of land, but you have a single house or you're in an apartment, it's still important because there's a lot of water that we say we have water problems. We don't have water problems, we have water management problems, right? If you want to see water problems, you go to some of the places that have desertification and you see problems there. But we don't have that. What we need to do is learn how to management. So if you come to this workshop, you're going to meet a bunch of people that are good people, and you're also going to learn a lot, right? And we're going to quiz you at the end too, so make sure you realize that. We are going to be moving along. We're going to drop into, let you know that in November, we have our annual cover crop webinar. We have been trying to get our farmers to do cover crops, and there's not much knowledge about it. There's some knowledge, but not as much. You don't see people planting cover crops. But that is a thing that's going to help us reduce all of this pesticides and all of this, the fertilizer that we put on it, because you can grow your own fertility. You don't have to buy it. You can grow it. And it's actually better for you. I mentioned before about indigo. When you are in West Africa, they plant in indigo to get a crop out of it, but it's a leguminous plant. And so it's going to be fixing nitrogen in the soil. So once they plant that cover crop of indigo, when they take that out, they're going to be planting their regular crops. we need to be going back to learning how to plant the cover crops instead of buying all this fertilizer, which is destroying our environment. So these guys that are on Kingsley, Robert, Doc, Andrew, they have had a lot of experience with understanding cover crops, and we have people coming from different parts of the Caribbean to share their information, because we want to make sure that we're speaking specific to our zone, right? So last year we had a wonderful set of panelists. This year is going to be even, we turned it up a notch. So please make sure we'll be sending the flyers out. And I'm going to apologize if you got a bunch of flyers, right? I know people are going to probably sick of the flyers, but we had some little technical glitches on our flyers the last 2 weeks, but we remedied that. And I know that people are having some issues sometimes with whether they need a password or if they can get on. So just bear with us. We're just trying to get our act together to make sure you get one flyer with all the information on it. So also another thing is a lot of housekeeping, right? A whole heap of housekeeping. You said multiple things that we're doing. The permaculture course. For the last 12 to 14 years, we've been hosting a permaculture course here at Source, and very important. So for those of you who are not familiar with permaculture, it's a whole system design. It is really about designing your environment, designing the way you want your life to be. And if you have an apartment, if you have a house, if you have any kind of land, all of you that are not on island and thinking about returning to Jamaica, you really need to take a permaculture course either with us or wherever in the world there's usually a course is happening, or something we can go online. It's vital for our future, because you have to design your way out of this. We can't buy our way out. We have to design our way. And if you don't know how to design, this is one of the courses that will help you really look at your lifestyle, your homestead, and design it that it's going to be working for you versus against you. So I'm really encouraging folks. We need to take some young people to send them to this course. Anybody who think they're coming back to Jamaica, we have a lot of people that are probably on this call that thinking that you have to make sure that you design for that. So we're gonna have a separate conversation about that, but we really want to make sure that you know what you're walking into. We have to be clear about it so you don't waste your time and waste money. Okay, so I want to make sure we have that conversation. And I think the last thing I think we have, how am I going to forget Ujima? You know, I did Ujima Natural Farmers Market. We're going to be moving up into a distribution. And we were blessed enough to get, can you believe this? JSF gave the group $80 million to do some post-harvest work, so we'll be able to distribute around the island. So when you come to Montego Bay or you're in Westmoreland and you want to get some clean food, we'll be able to send it out to you, right? So this is what we're doing. But within all of that, they didn't, the money didn't do everything it's supposed to do. We had to take a number of things out of the part. They're giving us the infrastructure, but we need to make sure that we fill in that with all the equipment that needs to happen, right? So we want to raise in 6 months, 500,000 to be able to support all the farmers that we work with infrastructure stuff or equipment and that kind of stuff. So I noticed last week we talked about it and nobody clicked the link. I don't get $1 out of it. Me shaking it down. We're asking for every Jamaican, anybody who loves Jamaica, to at least give one, buy us a cup of coffee, even that, right? So by the end of this, I'm going to ask Michelle to put it in the chat when I can go up on the link, and I want to see some money coming in today. We're shaking it down. We really want to be able to do this, and we want Jamaicans and people who love this island to support what we do here. It's very important. If you're sick, and we're going to talk about that with Dr. Ben, where are you going to get clean food from? So if you don't support us, how are we going to support you, right? So we are expecting to see some increases in this donation. Buy me a cup of coffee, right? We're not spend $15 on Starbucks, or we're going to buy a coffee from on a tea. I'm saying buy us a cup of coffee to support us so that we can support you when you come to Jamaica, or when you're on an island and you want to have something clean. That's it. And the last thing I think that I'm going to talk about before I turn it over to Dr. Ben is next week we have Kingsley Carter, who is one of our demonstration site holders. And Kingsley, I'm going to just call him the mix-up man. He always mix-up things. He's mixing EM. He is doing all kinds of EM5, all kinds of stuff, and talking about effective microorganisms and talking about his farm. He's going to come in on talking about a number of issues, whether cover crops, whether it is crop rotation, or just what's happening on his farm. So I think that was enough housekeeping. I think we're done with that. But I wanted to introduce Dr. Ben. So Dr. Ben, let me tell you the story I'm going to tell everybody. Well, first of all, I wanted to let everybody know that Dr. Ben is the founder and CEO of Hallelujah Lifestyle Wellness Center, and he's primarily located in Portland, but he also has an office in St. Thomas. And he has a bachelor degree in naturopathic healthcare, a doctorate in degree in naturopathic medicine. But I want to tell people the story about how I met Dr. Ben. Well, I'll tell you the second story about how I met Dr. Ben. So Dr. Ben, I officially met Dr. Ben because we had somebody that was having a kidney stones or gallstones, and he showed up to help this person. And we gave him a tour of Source Farm. And then Dr. Ben called me and said, you know, Nicola, I need you to go and get some of that mistletoe that is near the kitchen area because it's good for breast cancer. And of course, he then promptly sent me a picture of this him working on somebody with this that has breast cancer. And I'm saying to him, what are you talking about? I said, we don't have nothing like that. He says, no, man, you have it, and it's right near the kitchen area where that I think I forgot what tree it was growing on. And when I went and looked at it, this is a thing that for us that's been what we found out later was the carrot was a Jamaica mistletoe plant. So we had been, and I'm not naming anybody else at Source Farm that was doing it. I'm just going to take the blame for it. We had been taking down this thing because to us it's a fungus, right? And it's been killing our moringa trees. And so every time we see it, we take it down and burn it because the people say get rid of it because it's invasive, right? Or it's a fungus. So we have been burning this thing. So here he is telling me to go get the breast cancer medicine, something that I've been getting rid of and burning down the place, right? And so we learn, everything that we think sometimes we don't know what the thing is. We just want to get rid of it. We want to weed it out. We want to, people are spraying up the thing. All the medicines that are around us, everything that's around us, we know that there's some plant medicine. It's just that we don't know it, right? And because we don't know it, we feel like we must get rid of it. So that's how I met Dr. Ben, really understanding these medicines, right? And I know that Ivelyn has a lot of stories as well. But I'm going to ask Dr. Ben to come on because he has a presentation he's going to do, and I'm going to open up the conversation, right? So take it away, Doc.
All right. I guess the moderator will put me on. But it's really, really a pleasure to be on. The frequency, of F2F, Farmer to Farmer podcast is really a frequency that resonates with my spirit. I remember I do this podcast every week somewhere else. And because of its connection, I go on to do what I do, but my frequency is not so in tune with the general podcast. But this is something that I need to be on this. I need to be here every week because, so much is being done and so much is needed to be done. I'm really happy to be here. And, whenever Nicola called, Nicola is one of the few persons. I think my wife is the second person, and my mother are the three women that can call me and I'll drop almost anything I'm doing without question and I'll run. Nicola has that power over me. I don't know. But I'm really happy to be here this evening. This evening I want to talk about, because there's so much I want to talk about and I have so little time. So I'm going to go right into it. I'm going to be talking about the importance of Indigenous Caribbean medicine. I'm going to try to talk fast, but I'm going to try to, make complete, convey the concept as complete as is possible. So the importance of Indigenous Caribbean medicine. And so first of all, what is Indigenous Caribbean medicine? And Indigenous Caribbean medicine is a concept, is a coin that was coined by one of my students. We offer a course, and we wanted to come up with a term that would reflect, that would capture the practice, our medicine, because I was saying that it is full time for us to have a medicine that is reflective of us as a people. And when I say us as a people, I'm talking about people from Caribbean and mostly African descent. Because the Caribbean has a medicine that is uniquely distinctive from medicine anywhere else in the world. And the reason for that is because of the different cultures that have influenced and that has impacted our medicine. Now, I want to make a distinction between Indigenous Caribbean medicine and Western herbalism. So I was trained as a Western herbalist, and a Western herbalism basically is came out of. So the first natural medicine was indigenous medicine. That was the first school of thought. All ancient cultures have an indigenous form of medicine. But when Western medicine saw the effectiveness of indigenous medicine, they wanted to capitalize on it. They wanted to take advantage of it. And so what happened was that there were now two main thoughts as it relates to medicine. One was an indigenous medicine perspective, and one is a Western medicine perspective. Now, and it's very important for us to understand it, because if you don't understand it, you really can't understand and grasp and appreciate the value of indigenous medicine. Now, Western medicine wanted to bring indigenous medicine under itself. So one of the first things I wanted to do was to set up a board certification system where persons were board certified. Part of what they wanted to do was to control what natural practitioners could and could not do. And so, board certification was one of the things that came into being. And they also compare themselves. First of all, secondly, Western herbalism is based on approaching illness from the perspective of death. All indigenous practice approach medicine from the concept of life. What do I mean by that? Well, in Western medicine, they study the dead to treat the living. All right? So Western medicine is based on studying the dead or using dead stuff to treat live people or live entities. So for example, in Western medicine, medical doctors, for the most part, study cadavers to know how to treat people that are alive. And so in Western herbalism, practitioners mostly study dehydrated plants. So they'll study the dead plants. They'll buy their raw material from a herb store. They don't know what the plant looks like in its living state. They don't know anything about the plant. And so it's really very different from traditional medicine. In traditional medicine, there's no emphasis on, let me say, qualifications. A practitioner basically starts out as a disciple, so they are as a mentee, and they appear they sometimes live with the mentor, and they learn every aspect, and most importantly, from studying or seeing the plant in its live state to understanding the different preferences of the plants. Whether a traditional practitioner knows a plant, they don't just know that this plant is good for that. When they say they know the plant, they know the soil that the plant likes. They know the type of
81 people on the call. There's 81 people on the
Naomi,
call.
they know that. Please mute.
I think last time was like,
Yeah. So they know the type of when they know the plant, they have intimate knowledge. They have intimate knowledge of the plant. All right. So indigenous medicine represents the traditional healing practices rooted in African, Amerindian, and East Indian knowledge systems. And the system is deeply spiritual and nature-based, relying on the power of local herbs, rituals, and holistic approaches to health. So another thing that you'll see about indigenous medicine is that there's a spiritual component or a spiritual element to it, which is very different from Western herbalism. In Western herbalism, there is they divorce themselves from the spiritual component of medicine, and they only see the plant as a raw material that can be used. They only see the plant as a raw material that can be used for medicinal benefits. So, it's very, very different with Western herbalism, and I should say with traditional medicine. The practitioners respect nature so much that it borders on worship. A lot of persons who see practitioners of traditional medicines, sometimes they do worship nature, but sometimes it is not worship, it is respect, a reverence for nature that borders on worship. So they are confused with worshiping nature. These practices remain vital for both cultural preservation and accessible healthcare in the Caribbean today. So what we're saying is that we went ahead and we put together a program to not just, because what has happened to us as practitioners of Indigenous Caribbean medicine, because there are many practitioners that don't consider themselves to be Indigenous medicine practitioners. It's not structured. That's one thing about it. So you'll find that even though the practitioners are effective, very effective, because what they know from oral tradition, or they learn through apprenticeship. They know what to do, but they don't understand why it is being done. So they have a very good knowledge of what to do. They're effective, but it lacks scientific base. It lacks scientific data. And sometimes when Indigenous practitioners talk to you or share with you their understanding of why what they do works, it sounds so unscientific that sometimes they're not taken serious. So, these are some of the things that we need to look at. But Indigenous medicine in the Caribbean is a fusion of knowledge base passed down through generations of African slaves, Amerindian tribes, Indian indentured laborers. These communities use herbs to treat wounds, disease, and spiritual afflictions when modern medicine was unavailable. The healing knowledge was often guarded and transmitted orally through families and community healers. So that is basically how our medicine have been practiced, how it has been preserved. And for the most part, a lot of it has been lost because there is no emphasis on preserving it. As a matter of fact, there is no emphasis on respecting it. In Jamaica right now, Indigenous medicine is what has kept us alive. And to show you how unappreciated it is, the Ministry of Health, our Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Health in Jamaica does not have an arm or a section or anything at all dedicated to preserving or even taking this knowledge serious. That is to show you how much disrespect is there. Now, what I want to say is that in the 1700s, and I always talk about it, there was a reverend that traveled on the slave ship. I believe his name was Reverend John Lindsay. That's his name. And you can look him up, Reverend John Lindsay. He wrote a manuscript called Elegances of Jamaica. And Elegances of Jamaica is a manuscript that describes the flora and fauna of Jamaica. And basically this knowledge was gained by him traveling from Africa. So he would travel to Africa to pick up slaves. He would be on the ships when the slaves were coming to Jamaica. He would be on the plantation with the slaves. He would be in different countries. And you wonder, why would a reverend be on a slave ship? And point to note is that when he retired as a reverend, he lived up to his death in Jamaica. He lived up to his death in Jamaica. And you wonder, why would he travel on the slave ships? What would be so important? Why wouldn't he be at a church or starting a work or something like that? Well, what he was doing was that he was documenting the knowledge that the slaves had in terms of the use of herbs, in terms of the use of natural remedies. So, for example, remember now that when the colonizers came, one of the reasons why they came was to look for new resources. So they wanted to find out, was there new food that they could identify? Were there new dyes that they could identify? Were there new possible medicines that they could identify? So their exploit was not just to plant sugarcane, but it was also to look for what resources were available in these new lands. And to much surprise, when John Lindsay came, he found out that a lot of the animals that were on the plantations, the plantation owners didn't have vets. These animals, when they were sick, it was the slaves who cared for them. Not only did the slaves care for the animals, but they also cared for the plantation owners, their wives, and their families. It's very interesting. I really want you to look up the book, Elegances of Jamaica, because in the book, it lists a great number of herbs, as well as how those herbs were used in the 1700s. So herbs like busy. Busy is taken for granted by us now because we don't see the value of busy. But back then, the plantation owners were so much afraid of slaves and were so much afraid of being poisoned that almost every plantation owner walked every single solitary day with a busy in their pocket or a busy in their purse because of fear of being sick. When the Europeans came to Jamaica, the Europeans were exposed to what we call tropical and subtropical diseases. These were diseases that they were not accustomed to in terms of where they were coming from. And so the indigenous people, as well as the slaves, were very skillful in combating various viruses or various flu virus that occurred because of exposure to tropical pathogens. And so they were able to identify a number of medicinal plants that they brought back to Europe, and they created medicines from them. There's one slave that was called Quassia. Look him up, Quassia. There's a herb that is called Quassia or Bitter Quassia. And Bitter Quassia was named after this, it was named after the slave who ran away. And when he ran away, he had name of that disease that you get, syphilis. He had syphilis because syphilis was very common back then. A number of persons had syphilis. And when he came back, they realized that he was cured of his syphilis. What did he use to cure syphilis? He used the herb called Quassia. So it was named after him. There's another herb called Majo, Majoe, Majo bitters. That is also used as a blood purgative. That was also named after a slave. There's a bath fountain that a hospital was developed. All of this knowledge was obtained from indigenous practitioners, and proper credit was never given to them. Proper recognition was never given to them. As a matter of fact, the book that is entitled Elegances of Jamaica is right now it's in Britain. It's not even in Jamaica. It's in Britain in a library there, where persons can go and look, and it's talking about all these Jamaican plants. So it's very important to understand that our knowledge base is very powerful. There is Florence Nightingale, which is also known, and there is the Jamaican, they call her the doctress. This was a Jamaican herbalist. The most recognition that she has gotten is that they have named a hall at the university after her.
Mary C. Cole.
Mary C. Cole, thank you very much. Mary C. Cole. Mary C. Cole has more recognition in England than she has in Jamaica. You can imagine that? Mary C. Cole has more recognition. This was a woman that cured hundreds of soldiers, not only in Jamaica, but in England and in Crimea and in other parts of the world, using her knowledge of herbs. So when I talk about indigenous medicine, indigenous Caribbean medicine, one thing I'm saying is that it is full time for us to develop a brand. And as a matter of fact, what I've been working on is structuring, getting all of that knowledge and structuring it. So I have 2 clinics that allow me to have a lot of exposure to seeing people being ill and using herbs repeatedly over and over again and seeing a lot of benefits, seeing a lot of people being healed. And so what we have done is that we've gone ahead now to create a whole course for Indigenous Caribbean medicine. And the intention is to offer it in 3 ways. We don't believe in we believe in structure. So we don't believe in Western medicine, the Western medicine format. So we have a system, and I'll talk about that, how we recognize those persons who would have completed it. The whole goal is to have a medicinal system for Jamaica and the Caribbean that caters for Jamaican and Caribbean people anywhere in the world where they are. There's a lot of persons, and I'll say we use this term, son of the soil, or daughter of the soil. And that's a very powerful saying, because one thing I've found, and I do it on my herb walk, if I come to your house, when I come to a person's house, I can, to a very significant degree, tell you what type of diseases are in that house or in that yard, right? Because originally, herbs grew in response to the diseases of that area. So you will find there are Chinese herbs, there is Indian herbs, there are Jamaican herbs. A lot of the herbs in Jamaica are unique to the diseases that would be found in Jamaica. If you go to China, my screen share is gone. Okay. A lot of the diseases, and I'll give you another idea. If you go to the desert, the plants that you'll find in abundance in the deserts are plants that are effective against either heat or inflammation, which is caused by the heat in the desert. If you go to high altitudes, the plants that you will find in abundance are either plants that are vines or roots or herbs that are good for the lungs, because those are the diseases common to that area. And so plants grow in response to the diseases that grow in that particular area. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because not only the food, but the herbs that recognize the biology of your body usually grow abundantly where you're from. So people of Caribbean descent or African descent, the herbs that grow in abundance in those soils are recognize the biology of those people. And so what are the core principles of Indigenous Caribbean medicine? As I said, that it treats body, mind, and spirit simultaneously, right? So it's not like Western herbalism. And I really want to make a distinction between Western herbalism, because a lot of persons who go to a herbalist, a lot of persons go to them, go to Western herbalists. So a Western herbalist basically sees plant as just raw material. They don't understand that there's a spiritual component to the plant. There's what is called spirit medicine. Now, when you look at traditional medicine, nearly every practitioner of natural medicine or traditional medicine is also a spiritual person. There's a spiritual component to it, right? It is coming to say that healers often work in service to their communities, not for commercial gain. Now, this is very, very, very important, and that's the reason why in our school we try to train persons, because it's the model of indigenous medicine and Western medicine is very different. Now, in a Western medicine setting, most of the medicine is already created, and is created in a one cap fit all approach. Most traditional practitioners will have some medicines like that, but for the most part, the medicines are formulated in response to a consultation. So it's very different, and it can't be done to make a lot of money, because you can't produce medicines on a mill just to give persons. Each person is seen as a unique person. What's also taken into account is also the spiritual needs of the person, and so that's very important. Eco-spiritual connection, emphasize harmony with nature and respect for plants and spiritual beings. Humans, we have this thing now that they call where the world is very conscious about the planet, and it's really not a consciousness about the planet now. Western medicine is only concerned, or practitioner of Western medicine, most of them are, the concern is because there's no the idea that they're under threat. They don't really care about the plants. What they really care about is themselves. And the fact that if they don't take care of the ecosystem, it's going to affect them. But indigenous practitioners, long before there was even an understanding of climate change, they had a respect, and they placed an emphasis on respecting plants, respecting nature, and being in balance and being in harmony with nature. So long before the whole concept of climate change, indigenous practitioners respect nature for what it is. Um, core principle again, preventative care. It focuses on maintaining balance and wellness, not just curing illness. So so those are some of the very important core principles of indigenous medicine, and why I believe a distinction has to be made between indigenous medicine or indigenous medicine practitioners and Western medicine, because it's not the same. It's two totally different things. A lot of persons who have indigenous medicinal needs. In other words, the needs that they have is not just for their physical ailment, it's also for their spiritual spiritual benefit as well. They go to sometimes herbalists and they can't understand why they can't get better, why they're taking this, or why they're drinking that, why they can't get better. It's because it's more than just seeing plant as raw material. It's more than just seeing that. Most indigenous practitioners also can even connect with the plants. They can connect with the plants, they touch the plants, they can talk to the plant, the plant speaks to them. It's very different, and that distinction must be made. What are some common medicinal herbs of the Caribbean? And these are just some: cerasee, which is used for blood cleansing, diabetes, skin conditions. And one of the things that we teach as indigenous practitioners, and listen to this now, we teach persons how to interpret, because here's what happened. Plants have the raw material to heal us. That's one side of the equation. So plants tell us what they have, and the body tells you what it needs. So an indigenous practitioner is able to match what the body wants with what the plant says that it has. And that's what years of practicing will allow the person to do, being able to match that very sensitive information. So cerasee, we used for blood cleansing, diabetes, and skin conditions. Now, this is what the world tells us. Now, cerasee is much more than this. And sometimes, as an indigenous practitioner, it's a guide, but plants talk to us through touching them, through different ways that they communicate to us. Like, for example, I tell persons, almost every plant that produces a red flower, what is the plant telling us? The plant is telling us that it's good for blood and blood-related illnesses. Nearly every plant, now there are exceptions, every plant that produces a yellow flower, even if you don't know the name, it's telling you that it helps the urinary tract system. Plants that grow thorn, nearly every plant that grows thorn is good for treating pain. And there are other things that we can use. Nearly every plant that is, if you go in the forest, if I were to take you on a herb walk up in the hills, when you start to go up in the hills, what you're going to find is that a majority of the plants that you're going to see is vines and wisps, which one of the reasons for that, and I talk about the Maroons, which is a subculture in terms of Jamaica. The Maroons are some of the best practitioners of the best knowledge of herbs for muscular, skeletal, nerve-related problems. Why? Because the Maroon lives in the hills. And so because they live in the hills, the muscle, their nerve, and their skeletal system comes under a lot of pressure to climb those hills and to live in that terrain. And so because of that, they have a very good knowledge of the herbs that are useful for nerve problems, for muscle problems, and for bone problems. Some of the best persons to consult, all right, for that. But these are some of the herbs. Guinea hen, known for anti-cancer cancer and immune boosting properties. Soursop leaf, which is calming. When I go back on the camera, I want to show you right now, just before I came and I nearly didn't come on because I was in so much pain that I said to Nicola, I wonder if I can manage to come on. And I just went and got some herb, put on my hand where the pain was, and the pain is completely gone. Completely gone. You know? So healing practices. So we use herbal teas, decoction, tinctures. We use spiritual baths. Now, the funniest thing about, and I know I have a little bit of time, but most persons who come to us have no problem when they come to us for herbal teas. They have no problem when they come to us for decoction, which is when you boil herbs, make tonics. Most of them don't have no problem when they come for tinctures, but if you tell them, say, me have to go give you a bath, me have to go give you a herbal bath, even though it is scientifically proven that the medicinal properties of herbs can be transferred through the skin, the religious system that we have brainwashed us and made us so fearful that once you hear the word bath, and to some extent, once you hear about places like St. Thomas, I go to St. Thomas to get a herbal bath. I go to Portland to get a herbal bath. You don't know, said, them are going to ostracize you and criticize you. And so these are some of the myths that need to be destroyed. One of the reasons why, yes, time up?
Well, them giving us a clock for 45, but that's a very important point, and I want you to finish that point because they're missing out on all the beautiful medicines that is available to us. And because we've been doing this work in these areas for so long, we have to dispel that. So go ahead and finish with that.
Yes. So spiritual bath is very important. And I talk about spirit medicine. I went to the Maroons and I went to some Maroon healers and they were literally apologizing. Because they were trying to apologize to tell you why they do herbal bath, but why they're not into witchcraft. That is how damaged we are. And the reason for that is because of the ignorance that exists as it relates to our cultural practices. They don't understand even the use of drumming because herb is a frequency. And so we can explain the scientific benefits. We can go into the scientific benefits of bath. We can go into the scientific benefits of having bath even while drums are being played. So it's very important for our people to understand this because what they have done is that they have caused us to be fearful of what is our science and our technology of healing, our healing system. They want us to be fearful. Yet persons go under ultrasound machine. Persons go under very, very, very risky medicinal procedures without knowing anything. And whatever is less risky or no risk at all, as long as it is coming from us, persons are taught to fear it. So, it's very, very important. Let me just quickly go through. I'm almost finished. But I think we can stop there. Anything else I can maybe answer it from the question answered from the chat here because there's so much that needs to be said.
Yeah, really. This is definitely a couple more podcasts with you because you just touched the tip of the iceberg. I just wanted to, I know there's somebody that had their hand up, but I wanted Ivelyn to, because you're one of those Maroon people that are there that's been doing this for many, many years and having their experience. So can you unmute and just come in and share a little bit?
Hi, good evening.
And
Yeah, well, as Dr. Ben was saying, that when it comes to baths, people are afraid. But it's not baths alone people are afraid of. They're afraid of medicine too, because this woman came to me from Canada and she wanted to have a baby. And I gave her the herbs and everything. We have a good conversation. And when she went back to Canada, she called me and she said, "Oh, Ivelyn, I'm afraid of taking the herbs."
Mm-hmm.
So I said, "Why did you come to me then?" Because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to have a baby and you come to me and I give you the herbs, all you have to do is take them. The woman said to me, she's afraid of taking them. So as Dr. Ben was saying, it's not just the bath alone, it's the stigma.
Yes.
From you as a herbalist, a traditional herbalist, because I tell people I'm a traditional herbalist.
Right.
And from you as a traditional herbalist, people think you work hobby or something like that. And the first thing they're gonna ask, oh, some people will come and say, oh, I have this spirit around me and this and that. So sometimes the spirit around them is just their mind. It's just what is in their mind because, people come here. I gave them herbal bath and they went and they wrote me and they said, oh, Ivelyn, boy, the bath does so much good to me because I used to have this spirit around me and I don't feel it around me anymore and all of these things. But as Dr. Ben says, we need to get the traditional medicine in perspective because from I was like 8 years old, I've been around herbs and dealing with herbs. And I'm in my early 70s now, so you can imagine how long. And there's not a person, I have to say, knock on wood, that ever come to me and I tell them what my ancestors, because what I deal with is what I saw my ancestors deal with. And then in the process of dealing with them, then you find out for yourself certain things that came from certain herbs that your ancestors never tell you about.
Right.
So as I said, my life is herbs. And I like to talk about herbs. I like to work with herbs. I like to deal with herbs because I've cured a lot of people. Not me, the herbs have cured a lot of people that came to me about their conditions. A lot of people. I saw a man came here already from Morehouse College in Georgia. And when the man came, he was so bended over, that you wouldn't even believe that he could have walked. So then I walk in the herb garden with him, and then I pick some herbs. I said I was gonna pick 7, but when I finished pick, it was like 11 different herbs. And I make the bath for this man. And the next morning when the man wake up, he was tall. The man just stood up tall, like about 6'6". Even when the taxi man came for him, the taxi man couldn't imagine that it was the man that he brought here from the evening before. And, so I have performed a lot of miracles with herbs. And I believe that if people in general, when any sickness affect you, the first thing you're supposed to go to is the herbs. That's what my grandmother always told me. The first thing you go to is the herb. You don't go to doctor and let them operate on you, and then you come to me for herbs because that's not gonna help you anymore.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people have that mentality. They're sick and they go to doctor operate on them, and they come to you now. Like for example, if somebody have breast cancer, and they go and the doctor operate on their breast, I can't help them again because the ass already gone through the gate. But if they come before they operate on the cancer, then I can help. It's things like that. So basically, what I want to say is that I would advise people to more teach herbs like in school or, to younger children because
Start them,
hmm?
you're saying start them early so they have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
understanding.
yeah.
Right. Not wait until the horse comes.
Right. Like how I start out from I was 8. You start them early. That means they use the herbs and they have no doubt that the herbs will work. So basically that's...
So Evelyn, just wanted to let people know because there are people from all over we have about almost 100 people on the call, I think. Where exactly are you located? Because people are going to ask me. So you're in Portland?
I'm in the Rio Grande Valley. in the Maroon area of Portland, way up in the mountain between the Blue and John Crow Mountain. That's where I located.
So Ivelyn, I'm going to ask you to type your information in. So if anybody wants to reach out to you,
Yeah.
they can have access to the information. And also, doctor, is this happening that what all the herbalists in Portland? Is that what's going on? Is that what? Well, I'm over the other side of the hill, so
Well,
we're learning. But yes,
yeah,
it seems like all the herbalists are in Portland.
yeah, because what I want to say, what I want to add to that, Nicole, is that from my research, I found out that not all the slaves that were captured were equal. When the slaves were being captured, the plantation owners were willing to pay more for slaves that were herbalists or had knowledge of herbs than regular slaves. And these slaves were mostly priests, priestesses, or the sons of priests. And so that is the reason why, and they brought them mostly to St. Thomas. So the concentration of knowledge is really from St. Thomas, and it was the further you go to Negril, is the lesser it is.
Yeah, and it's not like it's every Black people that came to Jamaica were slaves. Because basically the Maroon weren't slaves, and the Maroon came here as gold traders with the Spaniards back in 1504, something like that. They were gold traders. They came with their gold to trade with the Spaniards. But when they came now, the Spaniards decided to put them on the plantation and rob their gold. So that's why we reach up in the Blue Mountain, because they thought they were going back to Africa. And they come up along the Rio Grande because they said it looked like Africa. And then they came up here and they built up their little shacks and live off the land. So it's not every Black people that came to Jamaica was slaves.
So true.
That is a wrong notion that people has. It's not because my ancestors weren't slaves. They were gold traders. And they came with their knowledge, and they learned from the Taino Indians that were living up here. Because when they came up in the mountain, they found the Taino Indians up here in the mountains. All over this place named Mashes, all over on the Blue Mountain side. So they joined with them, and they learned the Jamaican herbs from the Tainos. But let me tell you, I went to Ghana, and when I went to Ghana, every herbs that I see in Jamaica here, up in the mountain, I see it in Ghana. So it's like a culture that walks for years in our midst, but we just don't accept it. A lot of people.
Well, I'm thinking that we're going to be moving, more and more people are opening their eyes, and they're realizing that some of that stuff that they're being sold in terms of the Western medicine is not working. And so they're now turning and looking for things that will be able to heal them. We just have to do some more work and get ourselves, organized so that when people come, our eyes are open and also their eyes, and start to do that work with them. I'm going to also open up, because we're running the start from the time thing. So I know that there are questions here. So can you please raise? I see somebody, Paul McFarland is putting his hand up. You have a question, Paul? We're going to open it up for conversation. So you have two master herbalists here. This is the time to ask the questions, right? So Paul, you can unmute. Do you have a question?
Yes, thank you so much. How do you deal with, when you take a herb, when you use a herb, it's very difficult to tell actually how much of the bioactive ingredients might be in a herb sample. How do you determine how much to give a person to get a desired result? Is there a procedure that you use to get us to estimate a standardized amount of a particular bioactive compound?
Very good question.
Yeah.
Very good question. No, well, I'm not answered, and then Ivelyn can jump in. But one thing I want to say to you is that, first of all, I have to dispel a bit. Natural medicine is not an exact. Natural medicine is not an exact science.
Mm-mm.
We must be very proud in saying that. It's not exact. Number two, it's an art as much as it is a science.
Right.
We cannot use these criteria for judging Western medicine, which is another form of medicine, with natural medicine. I'm going to answer your question, but I want to lay this preface out. So it is not exact, number one. It is an art as much as it is a science. Now, with that being said, the third thing I want to say is that there is no such thing as a poisonous herb. Let me say that again. There is no such thing as a poisonous herb. What you have is powerful herbs.
Yeah, with
right?
overtaxing.
And so, because right, so what's the difference? Because if I was to ask the question, what's the difference between a poison and a medicine?
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is dosage, right? So, what they call a poisonous herb is a very powerful herb that when you take the same dosage of a powerful herb, standard dosage of a powerful herb, as with a regular herb, it can kill you.
Yeah.
So with a very powerful herb, the dosage has to be very, very small amounts.
Minimal,
in some
yeah.
instances, like herbs from the Aristolochia family, which we call it duck flower, the contribo. In some herbs, you can only take it once per year. There are herbs so powerful that you can only take it once per year. There are some herbs that when you take them, what happens is that certain compounds in the herb, the body takes a very long time to get it out. And so because the body takes a very long time to get it out, if while the body is getting it out, you are adding more, then it will reach the toxic level. Now, an example for that is what we call the kalawala.
Mm-hmm.
The kalawala root, which is very good for killing herbs, which is reason why you can't go to anybody who just use a herb. The person has to be knowledgeable. So if a person can use kalawala and get rid of a worm, and say, why? It works. So I'm going to use it, I like it, so I'm going to continue to use it. You'll be dead. Because,
yeah, you can.
You can't, because there are certain elements in it that when it does its work, we have to use another herb to get that component out of the system. If it stays there, it can kill you. Now, with that being said, though, there are what we call standard dosages. So what we do is we first of all have to bring the herb to what we call a measurable dosage. So what we typically do is we typically dry the herb, or we find some way to get it to a form where we dose it. If a tea, it's 1 teaspoon, standard now, 1 teaspoon to 1 cup boiling water. When you take the herb, and I talk about no such thing as poisonous herb, so when you're gonna use herb, as a herbalist, what we do is we identify those herbs that are powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So herbs from certain families, we identify them so that we don't use standard dosage them. We know that these herbs, you just don't use standard dosage. Now, once those are taken out of the way, every other herb can be used using standard dosage. And when we use standard dosage, we give you the herb, we look how your body respond, and then we adjust accordingly.
Right.
So, as it relates to the question, how much chemical is in that? We don't, as traditional practitioners, those are the things that Western medicine by nature is a very poisonous herb. They have to understand they have to work out exact dosage.
Exactly.
Why?
Yeah.
Because all their medicines for the most part are poisonous. With natural medicine, it is not. We only use that for certain herbs. And so when we give persons herbs, we look at how persons respond and we adjust accordingly.
Right. And for example, if you're gonna boil a blood purifier now, you're gonna use like half a pound of dried herbs. You're gonna use 5 different herbs. So you're gonna use half a pound, half a pound, half a pound, half a pound, half a pound. Equal
parts.
Equal parts, and you boil that. You boil that. What we do, we boil it in the night. So when it's boiled, we leave it on the fire till in the morning.
Yeah.
and then the fire out down on it, and it draws out every bit of the properties out of the herbs. So the next morning, now we strain that off, and then we put some more water. Depends on how much water still left in the pot. And then you put some more water in at that, and then you boil that down, and then you throw it out. Because I have a particular pot that I use to boil 8 bottles, and I don't boil more than 8 bottles at no given time. Right, 8 bottles. And so when I boil the 8 bottles now, I make sure that I have equal parts of herbs. Any form of medicine that I'm making have equal parts of herbs in the pot. That's how you're sure, and you know that it's not gonna poison you or anything like that, and it's not gonna counteract the next one. Because if you overload it with, for example, bitter albert, say for example, if you put 1 pound of bitter albert, 1/4 pound of Cersei, or something like that, that will be overloading. You have to put it equal parts.
And it depends on the person who you're making the medicine for, too.
Right.
Based on the
Depends
needs
on
of the
the
person.
depends on the strength of the person too.
Right.
How weak the person are. Yeah. Yeah. You have to just know. You have to just know. You have to, well, I studied from I was a child, so I know. I know exactly what to boil and what not to boil.
Exactly.
We have experience. All right. So does anyone else has a question? So Tammy, you have all this expertise that is here. Ivelyn has been doing this work for many, many years and helping a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Another question that we get is as it relates to cancer. We work with a lot of cancers. I work with a lot of cancers. And I tell persons, because there's a lot of ignorance that is out there. One thing I tell a person, for example, is that even though they're all spelled CANCER, cancer, cancers exist in what we call families. And so a lot of persons don't know that depending on the cancer family that a cancer comes from, and they're grouped into families because our families are determined based on common behaviors, common patterns that exist among individuals. The same way we use for cancers. And so all cancers are not treated the same way. All cancers are treated differently. And so it's not because you heard somebody take a particular medicine means that if you take it, it's going to help. Because herbs are used for particular reasons. Some cancers are soft tissue cancers. Some cancers are cancers of epithelial cells. Some cancers are cancers of soft tissues. Some cancers, so they function differently. And it's just like you're planning a military attack. When you're gonna attack a cancer, you have to know how it behaves, how it functions to plan how you're going to correct it.
Yep. And what I learned from I was a young girl. But I always hear the old time people them call cancer inside sore. Yeah, that them call cancer inside sore, yeah. So this old man told me what I should use for inside sore. So I used that herbs. I used that herbs with 2 other herbs, and believe it or not, it is so powerful. It works on any cancer. Yeah, any cancer they work on, And I can say the herbs, because the herbs is a herb that people don't even imagine that is a herbs, and it's the bachelor button. You know the bachelor's button?
Yes. Bachelor button.
The bachelor's button.
Most people, that's one. What's the other one?
And the soursop leaf and the red watergrass.
And the red watergrass. Because the bachelor's button, they use most people, because when they go to most revivalists or most spiritual workers, they use bachelor's button because it's anti-inflammatory. They use it to better what we call bad foot.
Yeah, man, it can better any farmer sore. That's
Yeah.
why the old man was telling me about the inside sore. And him said, if you juice it
Yeah.
and drink it, it even work faster. If you even juice the bachelor's button by itself, it work faster than when you boil it up with the soursop leaf and the red watergrass, you know.
Yes.
It work faster.
If
Yeah.
they look up bachelor's, but they're gonna find the American one. I'm trying to remember the Jamaican name for it. You can find it.
No, the American one don't work. It's the Jamaican one you have to use.
Right, but I'm trying to remember the name of the Jamaican one for them to find because it's not you know they won't find it under that name. I'm trying to remember the name of it in Jamaica. That if they go on YouTube and look it up, they'll find it. I think it's not nordweed. I think it's nordweed.
Something like that gum free. But I don't remember the scientific name, but it's
But
in my book.
it will come to me. I just remember we can just. But it's a very good herb. Bachelor's button.
Yes, man. Especially when you juice
Knobweed.
it.
Knobweed. If you look it up, knobweed. K-N-O-B. Knob. K-N-O-B. Knob. W-E-E-D. Knobweed.
Okay.
What they call it.
But while you're
Yeah.
talking about that, we have another person on, is McTaggart. You can unmute and you have a
Yes.
question? Mhm.
Yes, quite a
Okay.
few. I was just curious about the herbal bath. Like, why do you consider it as a spiritual? Like, where does the spiritual component comes in? It's just out of curiosity because it's the first time hearing about that. And also, what would you recommend for someone that has like PCOS and anemia and alopecia?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really know about certain things. Like this alopecia and all these things. I don't know about it, but I
Hair
know
loss.
that,
Hair loss.
Hair
Hair
loss.
loss.
well, I know that first time people used to wash their hair with aloe vera, and then they would scrape the tuna, you know, the tuna, and they would rub it up in their hair.
Yes.
And they leave it on and rinse it out the next day or so. And that will help with hair growth. And then you can use castor oil in your hair oil, because castor oil is so strong that you have to use it with some other hair oil and mix it. And then you use that to comb the hair. And then that will help the hair to get thick and grow.
What about low iron
Low iron, you have
in the
this,
blood? Yeah.
you have iron broom. You know iron broom?
No, never heard of that.
You have
Iron
logwood
brew?
hard. Logwood hard.
Yeah, but we
Okay.
use the iron broom for iron. The iron broom, we use it to make tea for people who lack of iron in the body.
The logwood heart is also very good. There's also the nettles, stinging nettle leaf, and the nettle leaf is also very good for alopecia. Nettles is what you know, antihistamine. You know, when you use nettle, stinging nettle, and it causes you to have those bumps.
Yeah.
What really causes it is the nettles. Is what we call a histamine effect. So nettles is good for alopecia, and nearly all medicine, natural medicine that was made, anti-histamine natural medicine had to contain nettles. So nettles is also very good.
They call the Canadian nettle.
No, the Canadian wood nettle is a big one. I'm talking the one that runs as a vine, that one that scratch you. The root of that is very good, and the leaves is very high in iron. There's also Spanish needle, that's also very high in iron. There's a herb that the Maroons use called fat and barrow. That's also very high in iron.
Yeah, I know the fat and barrow.
Spinach, also very high in iron. You know, so there's food that's high in iron, and there's medicine that's high in iron.
Yeah, well, me
So
know the iron broom is number one.
Yeah.
The iron broom is number one, trust me.
So I wanted to go back to your first question about the whole issue with the bath. So because people are more used to where they're moving more toward that Western medicine. So once you have to remember that most of the people that if you're doing herbs, you have to be connected to spirit because
Yeah.
I know that traditionally, when you look at maybe a European system, when I used to write everything down, how medicines and information was passed to us, we are very much spiritual people. So we were divinely connected. We didn't have to have this whole heap of library. You would go to the forest, the plants would talk to you, and
Thank
they would
you.
what to put together, right? Everybody's
Thank
different.
you.
Right, and that's how they put it together. Pick this, pick that, so much of this, whatever, and they would tell you. So those people where you'd end up meeting somebody who's a spiritual person, and then they'll be able to know what to put together because they're divinely connected to the plants,
Yeah, and
right?
for yeah.
And then take the bath. And this is something that you do all the time, Ivelyn, because a person will come to you, and then you say, all right, what is the issue? And then you just go, and the plants will tell you what to pick, right?
Right. And I will go in the garden with them. And then the plants tell you which one you must pick. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you just get a strong intuition that pick this one,
It was just
pick that one, pick that. And sometimes I think you're gonna pick 5, and then when you finish, you pick all 11.
right.
You can never decide how many herbs you're gonna pick to make a bath for somebody, for someone with a problem.
Yeah.
The herbs just you have an intuition
Hey,
and you
Ivelyn.
just pick.
Yeah. And another thing, Nicola, when most people hear spirit, they don't think demon or angel.
Right.
And
Good evening.
Good evening.
Wait, 1 second, he's not done yet. And
Yes.
you have your hand up? Where are you? One
Yeah,
second,
so-
finish Dr. Ben, and then
Yeah, so it's very important.
important.
It's very important that we understand this principle. Most people only define a spirit as a demon or an angel.
Right.
Good. Now, there's a reason why rum is called a spirit.
Right.
Or spirits. Because spirit is not only used to talk about demons or angels. So for example, if I say to you, your mother just died, and I would ask person, what feeling did I evoke when I tell you your mother just died, your child just died? They would say fear. I said that's a spirit. It's an energy. It can be measured. If I said to you, you won $10 million, and I ask you, what feeling did you feel? You say you felt happy, glad. That's a spirit. It wasn't the Holy Spirit. It wasn't a demon. It was an emotion, and it can be measured because it's a frequency. Now, plants emit frequency in the same way.
Right.
And that frequency, so when you talk about, so right where you are sitting right now, the reason why you can connect to this live right now is because right now where you're sitting, there are many frequencies, and your device is a medium. Your device is able to connect to that frequency and allow you to talk to us or to interface with us. And so in the same way that the frequency that your medium, your computer, your phone allowed you to pick up is the same way in which plants. So plants transmit a frequency. And when they transmit that frequency, and I'll give you an example, like cayenne. When I say cayenne pepper, cayenne emits a frequency of heat. And so if you were to take cayenne, it would cause you to sweat. It would cause you to if you were cold, it would warm you up. That's a spirit. That's a frequency. There are some herbs that when you take them, they cause you to get cold. There are some herbs that when you take them, they make you get horny. There are some herbs that when you take them, they allow you to have, so that frequency that is transmitted through that herb is also what we call the spirit of the herb.
And we call it the power of the herbs.
Or the power of the herb. So when we talk about spirit, we're not talking about Holy Spirit or angel. We're talking about something that is very scientific, that can be measured.
Yeah.
And there are some herbs that carry a higher frequency, and there are some herbs that carry very low frequency. So there are herbs like, for example, frankincense. A lot of herbs that are what we call in its resinous form. They are very high frequency herbs that when you take them, they bring you high, and there are certain herbs that can depress you. Like, for example, dopamine. I went to came to Nicola, and when I went to Nicola farm Ivelyn, I think it was GWG. There's a herb that grows there because Nicola, I don't know, somehow this herb that grows wild. And this is a herb that we call it Cowich.
Yeah,
But
Cowich.
it's actually Cowhage, Cowich. In India, it is used to treat a number of mental illness because that herb has the highest concentration of a hormone called dopamine. The word dope, which is it gives you strength, it makes you feel high. It is in that herb. So for persons who have Alzheimer's, for example, that is one of the herb that in India traditionally has been used to treat. So the frequency of the spirit of the herb. There are some herbs that only taking it, ingesting it alone is not enough. You have to bathe in it. You have to, like I went to St. Elizabeth recently for a herb called sweet wormwood or Artemisia. For this girl that is crippled. And it's not only to drink it, she is going to be bathed in it. There's a herb also called that we use for a lady that had this skin problem. C-O-W. Somebody asked me to spell it C-O-W-H-A-G-E. Cowhage. So in Jamaica, we don't call it Cowhage. We call it Cowich. But it's actually Cowhage. So it's the highest concentrated dopamine. So what I want to bring to Indigenous Caribbean medicine is not only the traditional use of herb, but I want persons to realize that our ancestors were way ahead of them time. In that their understanding, they were not able to go into the science and into the chemistry of plants, but they were and it shows that they were very much spiritually connected.
Yeah.
Because science only confirms what they've been saying over the years.
So Doc, and in 1 second, so we're going to take these two hands up, and then we're going to go into the chat because there were a number of questions in the chat. So I think it was Donna first, and then there's Rose, and there was another gentleman at some point, but let's do Donna. You had your hands up for a while.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Very interesting conversation so far. So I'm at that age where menopause is upon me, and my worst symptom is sleep deprivation. I'm just not sleeping. But what my little research into menopause has shown me is that the hormonal imbalance seems to be what I should be trying to get right, and everything else will sort itself out. This is what I'm on. But I don't know how to get to that hormonal balance. I've looked at all sorts of different things. I've tried all sorts of different things, and I'm not winning this battle.
Well, have you tried Piaba?
I've never heard of Piaba.
What Piaba?
How it's spelled?
Piaba.
Woman Piaba.
Yeah.
Piaba. Okay.
Yeah. That is an estrogen herbs, and your body need estrogen because your body losing estrogen after you're going through menopause. So if you get this Piaba,
Woman Piaba.
Woman Piaba.
Yeah, woman Piaba. But it's just one Piaba we have.
Okay.
And you just pick a dried handful to a pint of water.
Yes.
And the pint of water, you're going to make 2 cups of tea. But first of all, you're going to throw off half of that and make a cup of tea and leave the rest of herbs on the tea. And then in the night when you're ready to go to your bed now, you strain that off and drink it. And trust me, you see, that thing is like a miracle, you know, because as soon as you feel the heat flushes coming on and you feel it irritable, you just feel it as it feel like it's coming on, it's going away.
Really?
Yeah.
Ivelyn, is this in your book? Is this in is this one of the ones in your book?
Yeah.
Ivelyn has this amazing book. I don't know if you have it in front of you. Put it up. You can get it in all the bookstores. And I think her information should be in there. But I think you should be able to. I think that's one of the things that's in your book. So everybody in Jamaica that is in Jamaica or outside Jamaica, buy the lady book, right? And then I'm gonna send people your way. Go up there, make her sign it too, and go talk to her, reason with her. Beautiful, beautiful space that she has, right? And Dr. Ben, and as a matter of fact, we're going to do a little tour because we're gonna come to your office, Dr. Ben, and then go up to Ivelyn. Everything is in Portland these days. So if you wanted that kind of healing, that kind of conversation, these are the people here. So Ivelyn, you can show your book. It's a second edition.
See it there.
It's right there. It's in most bookshops in Jamaica. It's on Amazon. You can get it. And I think the recipes for some of these things are in there. And what is wonderful about,
Yeah.
you see how nobody hold up no stuff, right? Because we are always about trying to share the information because we want people to be well. All right. Rose, you have a quick question, Rose?
Can you just show the book again, please? That was too quick. The book again? Sorry, I didn't get a chance to take the name.
You have to move it up a little bit, Ivelyn. We can't see. Right, yeah, perfect. All right. All right, yes, perfect. All right. So did Rose have a question? Your hand came down? That was it?
We still didn't see it because you were talking, Nicola. Sorry, we didn't see it. She didn't come on the screen.
Oh, it didn't come on. Try one more time. Shut up.
She has to speak. So her camera.
You see it now?
You see it now. Okay.
I need a copy of that book.
Yeah, man.
It's the Healing Herbs of Jamaica edition 2.
Not see the
You
book
can
at
get
all.
it.
Just put it
We're
up
really
here.
done with it and subscribers over TV.
You never
other
see
things.
it.
We're gonna put the link for it into the chat so you'll be able to have it. If anybody just WhatsApp me later on if you're on WhatsApp. Doc, there's a couple of things you didn't mention. You want to mention about the guild? You want to mention about yes. We just let's have those conversations.
So basically,
you can get it at Ian Randall Publishing Studio.
We're gonna put it in the group.
Yeah.
Rashana, if you can go online and find Amazon link and just put it in there for us, that would be great.
It's on Amazon, or you can go to Ian Randall or any Kingston bookshop. You can get it. I think they have it at Songsters.
Okay. So, Doc, let's talk about why a guild.
All right. So the International Guild of Indigenous Caribbean Medicine is designed to put structure to Indigenous Caribbean medicine. Whereas we don't believe in what we call board certification of members, because that's a Western model. Indigenous practitioners were known and were respected. They were respected because people knew that these were persons who were mentored into the practice. And so rather than having a board certification, what we recommend is what we call peer-to-peer certification. And so we have a program where we offer training in 3 ways. One is through the online program, where persons register to become practitioners. 2, it is through mentorship. So we have a mentorship program. So when you register to become a student, you're going to be getting some knowledge, because we have organized the knowledge to become a practitioner of natural medicine. The knowledge has to be, you need groups of bodies of knowledge. So we arrange bodies of knowledge online. And then now we have a mentoring program. And through that mentoring program, what happens is that I work with that person to start practicing, and then we have workshops. Now, once a person registers in the school, then they become what we call a member of the guild. You can scroll up, and so when you register into the guild, basically you become an apprentice. And as an apprentice, what it means, basically what we want to do is to create some form of structure where if you're going to find a practitioner, there is consistency in terms of the knowledge base, there is uniformity in terms of the practice, and there is some at least basic standard in terms of knowledge as it relates to the sciences and so on and so forth. So basically we have what is called the apprentice membership, the associate membership, the certified member, the senior member, and the fellow member. And basically the idea is that persons as an apprentice would have, in order to become an associate, they would have to practice for a certain number of time. There are certain criteria they have to meet. They have to know a certain amount of herbs. They have to be practicing, not only going to the school. So if a person went to the school and did the training, they would never become an associate member. They have to go into practice. They have to be mentored. They have to complete a certain amount of hours. They have to know how to properly make the medicines and so on and so forth. And basically, that's what the whole idea is to create caregivers for our people, not only in Jamaica but in the Caribbean, where persons can now offer themselves. So when you click on these, it's igicm.org. That's our website. And when you go, you can click on the membership and you can look at what it means to be a member of the program. When you join our course, then you become an apprentice automatic, and you get a pin. The pin that you just saw, you get a pin like that, and you can proudly display that you're an apprentice that is learning. So so the whole idea is to train persons.
So one of the things one of the things I've always been saying, and I've even with having this conversation with Ivelyn before, is that I want to see an herbalist in every household and a master herbalist in every community. Right? Because even when talking to regular like the Western doctors, they're overwhelmed because there's certain things that everybody rushed to emergency room with, and they're stressed out. And that's why, in terms of cost of all that stuff, where your grandmother used to say, oh, you have this, just take that. And if you had a bigger problem, you go to the master herbalist in your community. And what we need to do is to go back to that. So, I find that there's a number of people that are probably on this call that have always wanted to do this kind of herbal work. And this is available to you, right? So I want people to be able to take the classes, because we can't sometimes rely on the Western medicine, because you see them sending us in a certain direction that we don't really want to go in, right? And so we now need to be able to take control. And they'll tell you that in the Ministry of Health said you're responsible for your own health, right?
Yeah, your health is
responsibility, right? And so you have to really take that to heart, because right now our medical system is overstressed. And sometimes you go into emergency room and it's things that really, you didn't really need to go for that. But we've been trained to, every time we have a headache, we go there. But, we need to get past it, and also get back to my grandmother used to say, oh, Nicola, you're having this, you can do this. And it works.
Yeah, get back to the community herbalism.
Herbalism, right.
Because
go ahead.
Because first time you would, like my grandmother was a renowned herbalist. And everybody from Millbank, Ginger House, Comfort Castle would come and say, Contisha, what you can take for this? What you can take for stoppage of water? What you can take? And my grandmother always just send me. Blossom, go pick this care, come give me. So as some me get to learn about the herbs so much. So me would go and pick the herbs and bring it to her, and then she would give them and tell them how to boil it. But normally they always say boil a handful to a pint of water. Depends on the herbs. You boil a handful of dry one to a pint of water. Depends on the strength of the herbs. So that community herbalism is no more. Right. Because trust me, if I never came back here and try to revive back the herbal knowledge, we wouldn't have it up here again. It would have been lost by now.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that you're here doing
because nobody wants to do herbs. Everybody wants to go to the doctor and take a pill.
And you don't know what's in those pills. So I really caution you, because I've been in some of those pill places in the US. I did a tour of one, and a lot of it is just filler, right? A lot of it is filler, and you don't even know where you're getting the things from. So I rather go and I can sometimes figure out what is that plant, what is that herb, what is that? We're putting it together.
And to add to that, I don't just want to. I want to target nurses, and I want to target medical doctors, because this is not our approach to. There are a lot of medical doctors, because we have clients. I have clients who are medical doctors. I have clients who are medical doctors that we work with for many ailments, but them personally as well as their family members, and a lot of them. Not every medical doctor is against herb. It's just because not many herbalists is able to explain to them the information in a way for them to appreciate it. So it's right. So what I want to bring to the whole game. My goal is to see the Ministry of Health in Jamaica have a unit dedicated to Western medicine. I'm willing to work with the Ministry of Health to help them to develop a program that is that for the nurses. We have nurses, mothers of nurses, medical doctors who we work with, and I would love to see the Ministry of Health having a program, because we have done a great level of disrespect to our ancestors. We have done a great level of discredit to our ancestors by not saying to them that we value what you have done, so much so that we have included it into our healthcare system. By not including it, you are inadvertently saying we do not respect you and we do not respect the work that you have done. You cannot tell me that you respect the work of our ancestors, that you respect the medicine that has kept us alive up until now, and don't have a department in the medicine that is your own dedicated to the effectiveness of that medicine. There is no way the Jamaican government can tell me that they respect our ancestors, and they have not done that. So there's to me, it's a big disrespect. It's not an oversight. It's an intentional big disrespect. And we as a people, we have representatives. We need to let them know. 70% of the people in Jamaica, 70, and I believe even maybe higher, 70% of the persons in Jamaica primarily trust natural medicine. And if the population, if such a high percentile of the population trust natural medicine, why isn't that reflected in our healthcare system?
You can say that again. You can say that again, because I know, for example, like prostate problems, like I know that a lot of men in Jamaica and the world suffer from prostate problems. And I make a prostate medicine, right? And trust me, anytime them drink it, it really helped them, you know. It helped them so much that they keep on telling. It's just word of mouth. My medicine go by word of mouth. Right now, I have so much medicine to make. Some prostate medicine, some blood purifier, you know. And that is the most too will sell so much.
All right, so we have medicine. I'm being asked, they're telling me I have to wrap up, but I see two more hands. I see Rose, we asked you before and you never unmute. Unmute now, and I say Baba Aldane, we'll go to you and then we're gonna close out. We have some other housekeeping to do. Listen, I knew this was gonna happen, right? Because we know so that we could definitely have.
Okay, I think I did.
Okay, all right. Ask your question.
Sorry, I didn't see that. So thank you, Nicola. This is Rosemary. I just want to quickly say that I know China includes traditional medicine into its mainstream treatment. So that tells us a lot. And another thing I wanted to ask about is, do any of these healers use mushrooms? We've been hearing a lot. And I remember years ago, you had a mushroom workshop at the farm. And I just wanted to know, because it's being used a lot now, especially in psychiatric treatments. So I just wanted to know, do they utilize mushrooms at all?
I don't.
Well, not really, I don't, to be honest. We go to the mountains and they have the big mushroom that grows on tree. They call it 1 foot meat. Well, we could cook that if we find that one, but that's it.
Well, we do at Source because we've been doing some psilocybin. We do oyster mushrooms, we do grow them, and we also do psilocybin. So we've been doing a lot of work with that. Nomi, my sister-in-law, she has a whole program around that. And I can honestly say it does work. Baba Aldane, you can unmute.
Yes. Yeah.
You had a question, Aldane?
Yes. Greetings.
Can't hear you.
Another question. You hear me now?
Yeah. We're hearing you now better, yes.
Greetings. Yeah, I just want to say
you're gone again.
And Mama Yaris, because what? You hear me now?
Yeah, man, go on now, yeah.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Give thanks. I was giving thanks to Dr. Ben and Mama Harris because what you just said about people were quick to, but people in the medical field, I used to work in pharmaceutical, and I realized a lot of people run to pharmaceutical product than to go to the herb, and then they don't try to find out what are the side effects in the pharmaceutical, and you won't get that side effect in the natural herb itself. So I'm here giving thanks for being in the meeting and hearing all of this stuff and to be a part of this, because this is one of the greatest things to even be able to understand and communicate. As with the herbs, I would naturally hear the plants and naturally talk with them. I said, do this, take that, use that. So I'm just so grateful.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know that I'm going to be in trouble because I know that there was a lot of questions in the chat. Let's see if I can get any of them before we transition out of this. But we know that, we're going to have you guys back again because it is just so much information. It's the tip of the iceberg. We didn't get everything that we could possibly talk about. Maybe we can next time single out. I know, Dr. Ben, you have your program. You have a lot of videos out there. So we're going to just definitely have to have you back. Definitely, a lot of people are asking for your contact, for both of your contacts. I see a bunch of, we're going to have, I don't know how we're going to put this, a lot of questions in the chat, lots of questions in the chat. But I definitely want to, we're going to ask Cecile to thank you. But before we do that, I want to mention again that we do have next week, we have Kingsley Carter on. And don't forget all the list of things that are going on for the next couple of weeks for Organic October. There's a lot of activities going on. So definitely, I'm sorry about if you're getting too many flyers, but we have to let people know what is going on. This is a very important time for us now. If you can see what's going on globally, we need to be able to get back to our medicines, right? You have to know who's making your medicine. You have to know who's making your medicine.
Right.
We are actually even, because Ivelyn, I'm telling you, I took a class at Ivelyn a couple of years ago. And one of the things that Ivelyn and I made, I remember the evening we made that bitterwood tincture. And she showed me how to make it. And she said, put it up in the cupboard for a month and, and I had it. That is the thing that actually took me through COVID. Ivelyn, everybody come in my house for the local medicine. My father just put a stop to it. As a matter of fact, what I end up doing is last year, our community, other people in the Source Farm, we came together and we said, let's make some tinctures because when flu season come, we want to make sure every household have it because everybody's coming from my bitterwood. So we said, no, man, right? So it's nothing in the bottom now. So we all got together and we made tinctures. And we're going to do this again, I think, in late November because other people now give the little tinctures that we make is all gone because everybody's taking them. You can actually make your own medicine. You can study, you can go to Ivelyn and study. Dr. Ben is offering his services. Go and be able to learn how to do something for yourself, right? Instead of always relying on something. They've taken that responsibility out of our own hands, put it to other people that you're not sure what they're doing. You'd be surprised. Everybody have something growing around them, right?
Yep.
You making a tea. Now some of the teas, the traditional, herbal teas are in the stores, but you can also start a little pot with something, some peppermint or some lemongrass or something, so that you're not always running to the store to get something. You can actually growing. We have a project, it's called the Pharmacy Project. Pharmacy. But what is the pharmacy? It's the plants. So we look and see what you have in your yard, what you don't have, we want to give you at least 30 to 50 plants, and you should always have plants in your yard. So when you have an issue, you can just go and pick it. Right, that is better.
Of course, I make a tea.
So you don't know how long these tablets have been around. So these things are being offered to you. Also for the farmers, I know they might run me off of the program, but for the farmers, a lot of things that we're harvesting and we're taking and weeding out of our farms, our medicines. Before you weed up something, go take a picture on that ID thing that is now on your phone. You can take a look a picture and look at what it is. Take a picture of it before you put it up because often those things actually you can make more money off of than the tomato that may grow. And I can prove that.
Of course.
We're harvesting out mimosa, what do you call it? Shema Lady. And I got a call from Top's Tea saying he will take as much shea lady as I can give him because he's now packaging it for his own tea product. So some of those things we have to look and see what's around us instead of like just getting like we did. We burn up all the breast cancer medicine, right? It's ignorance, right? So it's time for us now to be able to, we have enough ability to research and figure out what is there. And if you don't have a gardener with medicine, a pharmacy, you try to put together a pharmacy, right? If it's something you're missing, you come and you talk to us. Come to that event. I will be at that event in the Ujima Farmers Market. Come and we'll do our reasoning. What you don't have, I will be able to say, all right, we have this. What you have, and we'll be able to try and put things together so you all have your medicines around you and knowing where your food and your medicine come from. Very, very important. So, sis, take it away.
Okay. Thanks. We, as has already been declared, we need around 2. I think 2 is kind of still conservative because when you have both of these people with us, 2 is, we're really looking at 3 and 4. Dr. Ben is definitely looking forward to visiting the website, learning more about the program that you have in place. Ivelyn, you know that a visit is overdue, but people don't make Ivelyn fool, you know. You should not, just in Jamaica, you know. Sometimes when you call her, she's in other places. So grab her while you can, literally.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm very impressed. 82 people, I think was our top number. And I think if all of us make an effort to learn about even one local Jamaican herb, 1 a week, just read. Even if you're not using it, just read up on it. And as Dr. Ben said, look around your yard, what is there? Oh, 94. Okay, I missed that number. Look at what's in your yard. As traditionally we are told, what's in our yard is what we need. So if you see something growing, don't just whack it out the first time the man come with the weed whacker, or you know, don't dig it out. Read up.
Weed killer.
Yeah, no weed killers. People on this call are supposed to know better than that. But if you don't know, no weed killer. A weed is really a plant that A, you don't know what the benefits of it are, and B, is growing in a place that you find inconvenient. So there are no such thing as a weed. Would encourage everybody, as I said, at least once a week, read on something. Look in the yard, take a picture. As Nicola said, there are apps that you can use to identify the plant. And I look forward to the tincture making session, Nicola. I'm sure we'll have participation from the people who are resident on island. So don't tarry. As you said, the time we can see what's happening all around us. And thank you both very much. And we look forward to learning from you.
You're welcome.
The books and I'm told we're going to get a copy of this PowerPoint presentation, Dr. Ben. So we're looking out for that as well. And everybody who was on, don't let them trick you about things that are Jamaican not being good. We always were good. We're always going to be great. Thank you all.
Right.
Okay. Thank you so much. And thank you.
So Nicole.
Hi.
Nicole, you know my contact. So I'm gonna get my contact on your thing. You know my contact, so you can always put it on there. I can't hear you.
You're muted.
Nicola, you're muted.
Said, Michelle, were we able to?
Yes, we shared in the group earlier. If people look, they will see her website, her book information. We've been sharing as the conversation has been happening.
Great.
Yeah.
And one more thing, Nicola, because apart from the clinics that we have, I do believe that knowledge is so important. It should be out there for free. So if you go to our YouTube channel, ICM TV, one thing that we do a lot of video helping persons to identify herbs in the wild. And next year we're going to be having 3 herb walks, Cornwall, Middlesex, and Surrey. So not just on the site, but we're going to put it up. What the goal is not only for you to come bring your grandchildren, because we want the knowledge of herb to be across a multi-generational experience. We want persons to come with their children or their grandchildren, and we want them. I promise you that you'll leave being a functional herbalist. There's a way that we can teach you to become a herbalist in a day, so that when you leave, you'll be a functional herbalist for that day. So we're having one in Cornwall, one in Middlesex, one in Surrey. Just continue to check our website, and you'll see it under the tab that says, if you type in that section there that says herb walks or something like that, yeah, click there and you'll see it. You'll see it. No, you're on the wrong. Not affiliates, but I don't know where on it is at, but it's there. But look out for that, because the whole idea is to help persons to identify herb in their wild state.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right. Well, I mean, the knowledge is all here, so it's for you guys to tap into it and get access to these folks, right? So this is so important. I know that Ivelyn, how long do we have to wait? Is that 2-year wait before people can come and train with you? I have to wait 2 years, you know? Just so everybody
Well,
knows.
it's a long time right now.
It's a long time.
Because it's a long time. Probably another 2 years, as you say.
Right, so if you're interested, also
because I have
put a reservation in.
I have a young man now, and after he left, I'm gonna have a girl. And as you know, I only train 1 people at a time, because I can't train 4 or 5 people at once. I just deal with 1 and make sure that the 1 person get it. Yeah.
So again, I know that I'd like to also just thank our production team. They are amazing. I mean, they keep me on track, or they try to. And Roshana, thank you so much. She's our Peace Corps volunteer doing this great work with us here. Michelle Geister, we're so honored to have the world famous producer trying to keep me on track, right, Michelle? And also we have 2 other people. We have Nahala Shirley and Layla Shirley. We have them doing some PA work here at Source. So again, we just want to thank the entire team for each week. It's a lot of work to put this together. So just wanted to do a shout out to them and say thank you. And then of course, everybody that comes on, right? So please spread it. We're going to be having a lot more of these. If you also know other people that you want to see that person, have that conversation, do send it to us. And I already know there's a bunch of people that are on here that we want to definitely get on, because you all are doing such amazing work, and we want people to know about it. So again, thank you again for all your time and your energy. And I want you to have a wonderful, blessed upcoming week. Okay, much peace, everybody. See you next week.